The Thanksgiving turkey sat untouched in the middle of my parents' Grand Charleston dining table, steam curling into the light of a crystal chandelier. Gratitude wasn't on the menu. Judgment was. 32 years old and still no real job. My father, Richard Caldwell, CEO of Caldwell Banking Group, announced like he was delivering a quarterly loss report. That's what happens when you let her study software engineering instead of finance, my mother added, her diamond bracelet catching the light, voice sharp enough to carve the bird. At least Anna makes us proud, she went on. The youngest female executive in Caldwell history, my sister Anna said, smirking as she straightened her designer blazer. Beneath the table, my phone lit up. Message from my general counsel, final signatures complete, ownership transfer effective 3 p.m. EST. Actually, I began, but Anna's voice sliced over mine. There's still an opening in marketing, she purred. I could put in a good word, though you'd need to upgrade your wardrobe. Her eyes swept my black cashmere sweater and tailored slacks. If she knew they cost more than her monthly bonus, she might have swallowed the smirk. I'm fine, thanks, I said quietly, as another alert popped up. Asian markets reacting. Projections exceed forecast. Fine indeed. My father carved into the turkey like it had personally wronged him. Living in that shoebox apartment, glued to a laptop, that's not fine. That's throwing your life away. Thomas, my brother-in-law and Caldwell CFO, leaned back with a smug grin. I read an article about millennials calling themselves founders when they're really unemployed. Failures. I finished for him. 2:55 p.m. He stammered. Well, maybe not failures, just unrealistic. My phone buzzed again. Press release queued. Legal on standby. You had every advantage, my father declared, slicing again. Private schools, Ivy League, a guaranteed spot here, and you waste it tinkering with computers in some loft. Anna nodded like she was delivering a verdict. The corporate world requires structure, discipline. Not everyone is cut out for real business. I let them talk. 6 years of strategic acquisitions, shell companies, and calculated silence flashed through my mind. While they congratulated themselves in boardrooms, I built something far bigger than their narrow vision. My mother tried her version of gentle. What do you even do all day, dear? Surely there's a proper job in computers. Before I could answer, Thomas's phone buzzed, then my father's, then Anna's. One by one, their faces drained. What the hell? Thomas muttered. The shares, I said, checking my own alerts, up 40% in the last minute. My father froze, knife suspended mid-air. How do you? The same way I know you'll be getting calls from your banks in 30 seconds. I glanced at my watch, and in 45, the press release hits. Right on cue, phones rang around the table. Anna fumbled for hers, hands shaking. This has to be a glitch. No glitch, I said, standing. Just the market reacting to Aurora Capital's acquisition of Caldwell Banking Group. The knife slipped from my father's grip, clattering onto fine china. Aurora Capital? He croaked. The tech giant you've dismissed for years, I said, the one with the elusive CEO who never appears in public. Anna's eyes went wide. You. I nodded as another chorus of phones erupted. That's not legal, Thomas sputtered. I would have seen the filings. Would you? I asked. The same way you saw your tech debt? Or those overvalued assets rotting under your nose? I slid my phone across the table. The headline glowed. Aurora Capital acquires Caldwell Banking Group. CEO Brooke Caldwell to speak at 3 p.m. EST. Silence dropped over the dining room like a gavel. My father's face drained of color as the headlines blazed across every phone in reach. Aurora Capital acquires Caldwell Banking Group in surprise move. Tech giant expands into financial services. Caldwell stock soars on acquisition news. Brooke. His voice had lost the boardroom steel. What have you done? I let the question hang, savoring the reversal. Exactly what you always wanted, I said evenly. I joined the family business. The chandelier glittered above us while silverware lay abandoned. Phones, laptops, and banking alerts now buried my sister's picture-perfect Thanksgiving spread. I just did it my way. Another alert pulsed. Aurora Capital CEO revealed Brooke Caldwell, 32, finance's most powerful disruptor. Anna's champagne flute shook in her manicured hand. This is a joke. It has to be. Her voice faltered as her own screen confirmed it. My phone buzzed. A crisp voice came through on speaker. Miss Caldwell, CNBC is ready for your live interview. The helicopter will arrive in 20 minutes. Helicopter, my mother gasped, pearls trembling. The faint thrum in the distance answered for me. That would be my executive team, I said, sipping my water. Press conference in an hour. Markets wait for no one. Not even Thanksgiving. Thomas, the ever-smug CFO, was hunched over his laptop, sweat pooling at his temple. This isn't possible. The share transfers, the acquisitions, I would have seen it. Would you? I asked. The same way you missed the shell companies buying your suppliers and the fintech startups embedding inside your divisions? My father's jaw tightened. The board will never approve this. They already did, I said, calm as a ledger. Unanimously. 3 hours ago. The next headline struck like a hammer. Caldwell legacy ends as Aurora Capital ascends, a new era begins. Anna's composure cracked. But I'm executive vice president. I have contracts. I corrected. Aurora doesn't hand out titles as family favors. You're firing your own sister? My mother demanded. I'm implementing governance, I replied. Something Caldwell should have done years ago. Phones kept buzzing, stock up 75%. Markets surging. Investors calling. The tech integration projects? My companies, I continued. The cloud services you overpaid for? Mine. The entry-level coders you ignored? My team. The rotor blades roared closer, casting the Aurora logo's shadow over the table. But the money, my father started. Remember that waste of time app one built in college? I said. It sold for 9 figures. That was the seed. My mother slumped back, pearls rattling. We just wanted you to have a proper job. I had one, I said simply. CEO of a tech empire. You just couldn't recognize it. The helicopter descended, sending napkins skittering across the table. Brooke, my father's voice cracked, we only wanted what was best for you. This is what's best, I told him, sliding my phone toward him. The headlines blazed in bold, Aurora Capital takes control. Anna's voice was barely a whisper. But what about the family legacy? You mean the one our great-grandfather built? I said, standing as the old world collapsed around them. The legacy you've been coasting on, while the company bled relevance, ignoring every major technological shift in the last decade. Outside, a helicopter descended, its downdraft rippling untouched wine in crystal glasses, scattering napkins across the linen tablecloth. Through the towering windows, my executive team emerged, sleek black coats, tablets in hand, digital contracts queued, the future, walking up my parents' marble steps. Your severance packages are generous, I said, my voice calm as the rotor thrum deepened. Far more than your track record deserves. The doorbell chimed, crisp against the suffocating silence. My mother half rose to answer. Decades of etiquette instinctive, then froze, realizing she no longer knew her place in this new order. I'll get it, I said. They're my employees now. Sometimes revenge isn't served with turkey. Sometimes it arrives in a helicopter, with acquisition papers and a new corporate reality. They called me unemployed at 30. Instead, I employed them all. The Thanksgiving feast cooled as my team turned the dining room into a pop-up command center. Sarah Misumio spread documents across the mahogany table while my family huddled at the far end, silent witnesses as their empire dissolved like congealed gravy. The press conference is locked for 5 p.m., Sarah reported. CNBC, Bloomberg, Forbes, analysts are calling it the acquisition of the decade. My father's hands shook as he scanned the contracts. These dates, these shell companies. Years in the making, I said. Since the day you told me I was wasting time with computer games. Consider it a long-term investment strategy. Anna scrolled frantically through her phone, watching Caldwell's stock skyrocket. But all those board meetings, those speeches about preserving tradition. I was there. I cut in, my voice even. Amazing what people share when they dismiss you as an IT consultant. Thomas's CFO mask cracked. The digital transformation budget we approved last quarter, that was excessive. It funded Aurora Capital's full valuation of Caldwell. I said, you literally financed your own takeover. My mother tried one last pivot. Brooke, darling, surely we can work something out. We already did. I said, you just didn't read the fine print. Anna straightened, trying to reclaim authority. Obviously, as executive VP, I'll be involved in restructuring. Actually, your position has been eliminated. You can't fire me. I'm your sister. Exactly why you need to go. This company runs on merit, not DNA. My father pushed to his feet. Now see here, I built this company into a stagnant relic hemorrhaging market share. I finished. Would you like to see the numbers Thomas hid from the board? Wall screens lit up, Phoenix Tech's AI dashboards exposing concealed losses, inflated valuations, failed initiatives buried under creative accounting. Outside, media vans rolled in, satellite dishes unfurling above manicured hedges. They want a comment, Sarah said. How did an unemployed 32-year-old pull off a multi-billion-dollar takeover of her own family? Tell them it's about vision, I replied, seeing the future while others clung to the past. Breaking news hit every screen. Aurora Capital reveals family connection in bold Thanksgiving takeover. Caldwell shares hit record high. Your grandfather founded this company, my father said. And I'm saving it, I answered, from outdated leadership and inherited entitlement. The board is on standby, Sarah said. Integration timeline discussion. I stood, smoothing my black turtleneck. Time to introduce Caldwell's new era. Anna's voice cracked. What about us? That depends, I said, calm as the departing rotors, on whether you can survive in a world where last names don't matter. If you were sitting at that table, watching the shock spread across faces that once dismissed you, what would you say? Would you have stayed silent, building in the shadows, or walked away years ago? If this story made you feel something, pride, satisfaction, maybe even inspiration, hit like, smash subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because this isn't just a takeover story, it's about rewriting the rules they tried to box you into. Here's the truth, you don't need their validation to build your vision. Doubt is just noise. Your work, your persistence, and your patience will speak louder than any insult. So trust your plan, stay focused, and when the time comes, let your results be the loudest voice in the room. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't miss what happens next.